Let's talk about family relationships and how approaching 40 has changed my perspective on many family issues and let me move on with my life and kind of set me free. Number one is, if like me, you are an immigrant, you will relate to this. You're only able to have a bite-sized contact with your family, and these are the consequences of the decisions to move away. These are not the consequences you necessarily think about when you make that decision. And you go and visit and you try as much as you can, but it's never enough. What has changed for me is I no longer have guilt about that. I used to have a guilt about moving away. I used to have a guilt for breaking relations because I moved away. I used to have a guilt for not being able to fulfill family obligations because I moved away. And it gives people this perpetual excuse to guilt trip you while there is absolutely nothing you can do about it anymore. So I no longer want to feel guilt about it. I no longer want to justify my choices. Number two for me is making necessary boundaries. One of the hardest things that you can do in your life is drawing a line between you and your family because you have to save yourself. You are probably going to find what I'm going to say quite cruel. But depending on your family situation, there is a limit to how much sacrifice you can do for your family. More and more, what you hear online is this discourse around who is going to take care of you when you get older, prominent in the conversations around child-free lifestyle. On the other hand, there is this growing number of voices online that talk about hitting 30, 40 years old and then having to face a situation whereby you have to look after your parents or grandparents. Now, in a world where any kind of financial stability comes much later in life, how do you look after somebody while also trying to build your own life? I have been in this situation myself and had to look after a family member from another country. I did what I could within the means I had, but I did not drop everything, because if I did, I would jeopardize my own livelihood and the livelihood of the family member that I had to look after. If I went down, everybody else would go down, with the difference that nobody would be there to pick me up. These are the types of really tough decisions that you have to make because otherwise nobody wins. Number three is that I stopped trying to change my family and the way they perceive me. Everybody always judges everybody. They will judge whether you have kids or you don't have kids, what house you bought, where you bought it, your lifestyle, your failures, your successes. One of the most sobering realizations that one can have is to realize how little your own family really knows you, and sometimes it's exacerbated by how they misconstrued the motivations of your actions. But in a way, it's very freeing, because once you decide you've hit the wall, there is absolutely nothing else you can do but to turn around and leave. Number four is I stopped trying to help where that help is not requested. If you have younger siblings, you can probably relate, but I did that a lot to my sister, and I tried to impose my guidance and advice and what she should be doing in situations. And it probably stemmed from me, again, overcompensating for the fact that I've moved away and abandoned her. But what I only realize is that I'm trying to make up for something in the past to a person that is no longer there. I'm stuck in the past. She's already moved on and become her own person. And it hurts when your advice is not taken, but at the same time, it's also extremely freeing because it makes you realize that it's not your responsibility anymore, it's theirs. So I now try to withhold from projecting what I think is right, because I'm only repeating my parents' mistakes and that circle never ends. Can you relate to anything? Is there anything that I've said you want me to expand on in the next video? I would love to know. And if you like this content, like and subscribe. See you guys next time.